Mr. Speaker, this is a topic I've spent a lot of time on here on this floor talking about. It's where our food supply comes from in this nation. And with the short-sighted efforts we have by our regulators at the federal and state level, food is shorter in this country than it ever has been in quite a few years, and for no good reason. As I point out on this chart here, my home state of California, many of our food products are grown in California that the U.S. relies upon. These products you see here, over 90%, some of them 100%, come from California. If they weren't grown in California, they would have to come from somewhere else. We'd have to import them. We would have to do without. We'd have to switch to some other type of food product that we didn't like as well, or just have less choices. Why is this happening? In part because the water supply for these farms that have been around for decades, and indeed the water systems in California, the Central Valley Project, which is federal, and the State Water Project, which is state level, were developed with harnessing the water that we have so plentiful in the north and using it throughout the state. Indeed, in drought periods, these systems were designed to hold us through drought for up to 5 years when the dam was full beforehand in order to do what people need, farm their crops and take care of the needs of the cities, manufacturing, etc. Well, in California, of the 100% water pie, 50% goes for environmental needs. 50% goes to keep fish colder and wetter, to let water run out to the Pacific, to keep the saltwater intrusion in the delta at bay, so to speak. 40% traditionally has gone to agriculture, and 10% is what has gone to urban and domestic use. Well, that 40% agriculture has had a big bite taken out of it. Hundreds of thousands of acres have been idled in California, just in my area, in the north. At least 250,000 acres of rice crops alone, as well as other water supply that goes towards almonds and walnuts and prunes and many other crops, has been taken away. Do they want to blame the drought? Yeah, we've had some level of drought, but in 2021, I would also remind you, we had a huge amount of rainfall in October and a vast snowpack in December 2021. This year, we're enjoying a good amount of rainfall already in November and December, which will help replenish our lakes. But what are the water managers, so to speak, in the federal and state governments doing? Are they indeed keeping the water in the lakes so that we would have the ability to draw upon that water and continue farming crops in California? Again, this isn't just for California farmers, for California economy. This is something all Americans rely upon for these food products that more numerous I can even list on this chart here. Let's look at the next one. So what's happening in my northern part of the state, the Klamath Basin? I also share on the Oregon side with my good colleague, Mr. Bentz. The last few years, they've taken the water supply from the farmers up there in that basin, in the Klamath Basin Project. This is a project that was built over 100 years ago to make more water available solely for agriculture from the Klamath Lake. It enhanced the original lake with an additional supply. Yet Bureau of Reclamation and environmental organizations and agencies believe that's their water to take and try and mitigate fish issues in the Klamath River. And this kind of attitude has shifted all the way through the Klamath, on down through the Sacramento River. Bureau of Reclamation needs to get its act together and be reminded again and again that the Klamath Project was developed for agriculture, not to help mitigate fish issues that probably can't really be solved. On top of that, another thing the people of Klamath and Siskiyou and Northern California area are suffering is that they want to remove the dams that make hydroelectric power on the Klamath River by making a regulatory scheme so almost impossible that it can renew the licenses. That's how government does it. Make it too costly, too impossible to continue to stay in business via permit process. So hydroelectric power is going to be less in California, which is already a tough thing on our power grid. So what is the big thing against the people of the Klamath Basin? I don't understand. We need food, we need electricity. I yield back.